Hi, and welcome to this week's Three Legs, Four Wheels F1 podcast. It's Paul here with...
Sean.
And Lee.
Yeah, just the three of us this week. It's great, isn't it? There's five of us on the team, and we still haven't all been in the same pod at the same time. Apparently, we are getting a flood back very soon.
Yay.
Good.
Yes, he's able to call his evenings his own again, so he'll be joining us. So you never know. Next week, we might actually have all five of us on the show.
No
That'd
way.
be exciting.
For the first time since Kieran wasn't on the show, but was on the show. Oh, this is confusing. Look, it's Tuesday night. Nothing's normal. No, we've had Tuesday news.
Yes.
Good Tuesday. I think good Tuesday news as well.
Yep, that Williams Gulf livery looks incredible.
I thought we were going to be talking about Oscar Piastri cooking a steak for the first time.
Without setting a fire alarm
Yeah.
off. Anything else happened?
I think that's about it.
Yeah, I think we're about done. Right? Okay, let's talk about Silverstone instead. How bad was Nick De Vries?
I mean, yeah, terminally bad by the looks of it, since
Yeah.
he is now out of a job.
Yes.
Yeah. Apart from now, because the fucking internet can't agree on anything, now every other post going, but they just didn't give him enough time.
I mean, some Red Bull drivers have been, Red Bull family drivers have been given a lot less time.
I think other drivers, I wouldn't say better or worse because I don't know, but I would say other drivers have been given less time against stronger against stronger teammates than he's had.
Yeah, I think this is it, isn't it? I think we know Tsunoda probably isn't going to be threatening for a world championship anytime soon, and yet he looks so far ahead of where De Vries is. It's sort of makes De Vries look not so great.
I mean, with Tsunoda being Honda backed as well, the only thing that could have saved De Vries is Red Bull signing an engine deal with DAF. Can't think of any other Dutch car manufacturers.
Spiker?
I think they've gone bust again.
Oh, have they gone now? Okay.
I think the name still exists, but I don't think they're owned by a Dutch company anymore.
I see.
But I mean, not giving him enough time. Yes, you could look at that in one regard, but a Formula E champion, 5 years as Mercedes sim driver and reserve driver.
Yeah.
Formula 2 champion. Brought up through the McLaren program that he was on since he was about 15.
12.
Yeah, possibly even 12. He's had a lot of opportunities. I think the thing that's really let him down is the car is an absolute shed.
I think if he'd been beaten Tsunoda, it wouldn't have mattered.
True. Oh God, is that?
I don't even think he had. I don't even think he had to do better than Tsunoda.
Mm-hmm.
I think if he just did what Tsunoda's doing, and Tsunoda was behind him, it would just be a case of, oh well, the car's rubbish. You know, we won't know until it's better. But Tsunoda's got him nailed down.
Yeah.
You know, there's no ifs or buts about it. And I don't think Tsunoda has all of a sudden become a top-line Formula One driver.
Mm-mm.
No, I mean, Tsunoda looks a lot more settled this year, and he's not making as many daft mistakes as he has been doing in the past.
Yeah, I think maybe a little bit more mature.
Yeah.
But, yeah, still nowhere near Gasly had that car last year.
Yeah.
Yeah. I suppose I suppose for anyone that might have been hiding under a rock over the past, say 48 hours until most people hear this, Daniel Ricciardo's replacing Nick De Vries with immediate effect.
Oh yeah, we didn't actually mention that bit, did we?
No.
I mean, there's people out there saying it's an odd choice as well. It's like, well, Liam Lawson.
Liam Lawson.
Yeah. He's in the middle of a Super Formula season, and he's probably going to win it.
Yeah.
If not, then he'll be looking at top 2.
He absolutely deserves a shot in F1, but whether it's a mid-season thing or they decide he gets that seat next year and actually prep him properly for it rather than just throwing him in,
Yeah.
probably is the more sensible option.
Yeah. I've got a theory.
Oh, good lord.
Lawson would have got the seat if Perez had been better.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I agree. This
Yeah.
is exactly what I was going to say. I think this is more about Perez than it is about De Vries.
So seeing if Ricciardo gets Perez's seat next year.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. This is his audition. We know he performed well at the Silverstone tyre test today. I think his best lap was something like 0.6 away from the pole time on Sunday.
It's not bad going.
Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
So, and apparently Max has been coaching him in the sim as well. And even Horner's saying he looks like he's got his old self back.
Mm. Well, this is the thing, isn't it? I think people have got short memories. It wasn't so long ago we had Daniel Ricciardo down as a future world champion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He made that move to Red Bull, not to Renault, which was, I mean, realistically, it probably wasn't like a totally bad move for him, but his move from Renault to McLaren was certainly not great.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when you look at what he achieved in his second season at Renault.
Exactly, yeah, and that's his Renault tenure wasn't great, but the car wasn't great. But the difference with that was he constantly outperformed Nico Hülkenberg, who's been the revelation of the year in my eyes this year since coming back. And he constantly outperformed Ocon when Ocon was his teammate. So he's the idea that all of a sudden he's forgotten how to drive. I think it's much more likely that this is a McLaren specific problem.
Just like everybody in the second Red Bull can't drive the car.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and maybe it's that. Maybe the Red Bull having such like unique characteristics, probably because it's a newie car. Maybe that makes it difficult to go somewhere else. I mean, look at Vettel when he left.
Yeah.
We never got Red Bull Vettel in Ferrari at all, really.
Yeah, had a couple of sort of half decent seasons.
Half decent half seasons.
Yeah,
I'd say.
Yeah, I mean, there was a couple of years where up until the summer break he was challenging for world championships.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And then it all went to Ferrari.
Yeah. Who didn't disappoint this weekend either?
We will have things to say about that in a bit.
I actually turned around to the television at one point and said, "Ferrari, you never let me down, do you?" When I was watching the race.
I think it was Verstappen's radio message, wasn't it? Like, oh, I see the Ferrari have pitted, we carry on, or something along those lines. It was a real like, oh, they're doing something, so we're not doing that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think half our Discord server noticed that and commented on it as well.
It's So not to get talking about like Ferrari too quickly. I also found it weird that when it came to when it came to pit stop time, you could almost imagine Carlos Sainz asking the pits for like information with a pad and pen in his hand in the car, trying to work things out for himself before he agreed to it.
Yeah, we'll go through as many Ferrari cock-ups as we've got time to fit in. Bearing in mind, I'm very limited on hard drive space on this PC that we're recording on. I've only got about half a terabyte left, so we can't get them all in.
I mean, I'm more interested about missing my son's birthday next week, so we should probably leave it.
So I mean, what we've discovered this afternoon is they got fed up with De Vries very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Danny Rick has improved to his. I don't know whether they were hinting at previous Red Bull levels or just he's not crap again, because they were saying he picked up a lot of bad habits in the years that he'd been away, and he was struggling in the sim. But I mean, obviously, the sim and the real car are worlds apart, and he's proved that he can actually put a good lap in. We don't know what the rest of the session was like because it's a Pirelli tyre test and never released the data from those. But yeah, we get to see the Honey Badger back on the grid.
Yeah, I'm glad. But I agree with you though. I do think this is all about Perez.
Next year.
Yeah, and the possibility of replacing him.
Yeah, it's definitely a warning shot because I mean, Red Bull or the Red Bull organisation do not need to point out to any driver that they've currently got that they will get rid of someone mid-season.
I mean, Marco has been saying he's not happy with De Vries for about a month now, so...
Yeah, when he was doing the media the other week and somebody asked him about Perez and he was like, well, he's doing better than De Vries.
Uh-huh.
Mm.
Could make it interesting for the rest of the year for Perez now that distraction has gone.
Yeah, that is going to be that's going to be interesting to see how he can hold himself together. And he's on 5 races without making it to Q3.
Yeah, it's not good. I'm sure we'll come on to that.
Oh,
more later.
We'll get onto that in a bit. There was some other news that came out this week, and it's been completely and utterly overshadowed. But Mercedes have now given up on development on this year's car.
Oh, have they?
And they've also christened it Diva 2.0. Obviously, the first Diva was 2017.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was a Diva when they were still winning stuff, though, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So this must be a double Diva.
Yeah, because now it's a Diva and it's not winning anything. So, yeah, it looks like Mercedes may have peaked for the season.
Interesting. Do you think? I mean, I've listened to interviews with Toto Wolff and stuff like that, and I still get this feeling that there's a denial from Mercedes that they're actually in trouble.
They just think, at some point it'll all just click and it'll be fine.
Yeah, like Gary Anderson was pointed an interesting thing out because he was sort of saying, well, the issue they've got is with the floor, so they bring a new front wing. And he said, what they're just putting a band-aid over a known problem. And his point of view, I think, was, they'd be better off trying to work out what's going on with the floor rather than spending time on a new front wing just to try and mask the problems that the floor's got.
Yeah, I mean, you'd think they'd be getting a lot of outside help on the floor now after everybody saw it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder. Normally, if someone decides they're stopping development at this time of the year, it probably means they're looking towards next year's car. So they must be confident they can do a good car next year, or they wouldn't be giving up this year.
Yeah, I mean, the regulations aren't changing too much for next year, so I wonder if they are going to bring, say, a new floor in that is going to be the prototype of what will be seen on next year's car when it breaks down in Monaco and gets craned over the crowd again.
But this is the thing with Mercedes, and they keep saying you'll get the messages from Toto Wolff coming over to Lewis Hamilton going, "Oh, I know the car's bad. We know we have a bad car. You got a you're holding second in the championship right now. So your car's not that bad. It's not like the Mercedes of old, obviously.
Well, is it a case of more? We know the car's bad, but at least there's 2 of you scoring points. Thank God for Stroll. That's why we're second.
Yeah, I think there's an element of that, but you have to think that they've come from a higher point than, say, McLaren, and I don't think all of a sudden McLaren are top 3 team. We'll get a better idea this weekend, and I think Lando's already said he still thinks the McLaren's a terrible car in slow corners.
It's next weekend. We get a week off.
All right, and but the thing is, if McLaren, with what they constantly refer to as an antiquated wind tunnel, if they can jump up from what was almost the worst car in the grid to a point where, on pace, Lando was never going to win the British Grand Prix, but he's hung with Max Verstappen to an extent, and he nearly took pole position.
Yeah.
So if McLaren can do that, and Mercedes are absolutely convinced that they can build a better car, why haven't they managed to sort their problems out to at least a similar level?
Yeah, I mean, the Mercedes should have got past Lando on soft tyres at the restart and didn't.
Yeah.
I've been saying this since we started this podcast in 2015. Mercedes don't know how to build a car to follow.
Well, they should do by now. They've had a couple of years practice.
Yeah, and
they should have plenty of data on it.
But they've had many years of building a car that's able to lead.
I think that's a fair point. I do think you had a tremendous job from Lando, defense wise.
Oh yeah,
yeah. But I think you're right. We've seen it for ages. Where Lewis would be catching somebody if he was in second, he would get so close to them, and then that's where it would stay.
Yeah. That it may well be that they've got a really fast car. It's just utterly crap when it's not in clean air.
Yeah.
And
that's
that's what they built for the last few years. And it just so happened that they had 6 years on the trot of having the fastest package, and they could get away at the start.
And it was both Mercedes as well, but neither Mercedes could get themselves around a McLaren with a tyre advantage.
Yeah, because they were both behind.
Yeah,
one.
it was McLaren, Mercedes.
Yeah. Should we do the Silverstone review then?
Why not?
Let's start with the national anthem.
Oh, holy fuck!
Right, I missed this because I didn't watch it live.
Oh God!
Have you seen it on YouTube yet?
No.
Oh my God! I would conservatively estimate I've watched it 20 times.
Wow,
It's stunning for all the wrong reasons.
Who was it?
So it's Damian Lewis, the actor.
Right.
Not a vocalist, or not known for his vocal.
Although Kieran did send us a message before we started saying that he found a copy of a Damian Lewis single in the only record shop on the Isle of Wight.
Some of my favourite tweets about it were that he's obviously watched the Elvis movie a bit too often, or was trying to be Alex Turner from the Arctic Monkeys. It was him, accompanied by a saxophonist, which is not a traditional instrument in the UK national anthem, in a sort of jazz style. My favourite word is his and. He somehow makes the and last for about 5 seconds. I can't decide if he was in on it. I can't decide if he knows it was as car crash as it was.
The closest thing I can compare it to is when Fergie did the American national anthem at the NBA All-Star Game a few years ago and tried to turn that into a lounge jazz.
Oh,
here we are.
Are we going to get a live reaction here?
I hope so.
No, I can't find it.
We'll send.
Here, there's someone.
Let me see. I've sent it to many people. I might have it somewhere.
Right. What I'm going to do?
Why is it started like porn?
Yes, it's sax.
We're just waiting for the vocals to kick in. Oh, this is making for stunning audio.
Jesus Christ!
How have you managed to get from Sunday afternoon to Tuesday without seeing, hearing, experiencing?
They haven't even put the official video of it up. That was just something I've turned it off now. That was just something somebody had put up. That was like trackside that recorded on their phone. Why do they do this?
I don't know. They had Liam Payne on the grid who sings. They had Sam Ryder on the grid who's a singer.
He did last year.
He did last year's. Yeah. I'm sure they could have got an actual semi-respectable vocalist.
But can we not just have orchestras? Is that not
or
fine?
An orchestra is an option? Yeah.
That's what we do when everyone's on the podium. Instead of bothering with this, could we not just play the same tune?
Well, they don't have an orchestra. They've got a CD usually.
Sometimes they do orchestras.
They have the occasional orchestra.
They have certainly at Monaco. They always have a band.
But the national anthems when they're sat on the grid, why don't they just play the national anthem of the country they're in when, all the drivers can stand at the front, we just don't look around, we just look at the drivers, that's fine.
Because looking at particularly the British drivers trying to keep a straight face during that was bonus entertainment. There's a bit where I think George Russell is on the verge of cracking up, so sort of nods like he's nodding along to it, like a headbang. It's like, George, what you doing?
We've usually got our chat going on a Sunday afternoon when the race is on. And there is usually a comment from at least one of us about the anthem while the anthem is happening.
Because the bar is pretty low for an F1 national anthem. It's never like they never get a sort of world class opera someone or other. It's usually someone a bit B-spec.
Yeah.
So we weren't expecting miracles from it, but Jesus Christ.
Yeah, like you said, at least get a singer. So, moving swiftly on from that, although it may require therapy. Yes, qualifying. Lando looked like he'd got pole. I mean, he was fastest in Q1 and Q2 as well, wasn't he? Oh, that's what he said in his interview. I can't remember if he was or not.
I can't remember. I wasn't paying that closer attention to top of the
But, I mean, it was a hell of a surprise seeing a McLaren that far up, that consistently. And, you know, it does fill me with hope for McLaren, certainly in Monza and Spa.
And into next year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because what this proves is, it proves that when they turned around and said, look, we didn't meet our targets, we've gone the wrong way with this car, we've had to do something, that they were right. They identified the issues and they knew what they had to do to fix them. This is what worries me more about Mercedes and makes me less encouraged about them being able to turn it around next year. But yeah, it's like they've got a good team there as well. You know, like Piastri's. I don't think he hasn't been underwhelming like through most of the year. And he hasn't like blown the barn doors off anybody. I would say he's whelmed.
Yeah, he's kind of where he should be, really, isn't he? He's not as on the pace as his more experienced teammate, but he's not miles off it either.
Yeah, but this week he was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he came pre-packaged with a hell of a lot of pressure, though.
Yes.
Just for everything that happened last August. You know,
very true.
Yeah. In fact, it's probably helped him to be perfectly honest. The car not being great.
Yeah, it kind of took a lot of the focus away from him.
Yeah, he could hide a little bit.
Yeah, and it's let him develop because he's certainly done well with that. But we'll do McLaren in depth later. But I think firstly it's going to be Alpine, isn't it? Because they had technically a DNF and an 18th because Gasly was classified because he did the 90%. So for anyone on our prediction league, that's why there was only 2 DNFs because Gasly managed to do over 44 laps. Sorry, 45. Not a great day for him.
No, I suppose not really anything sort of the drivers themselves did wrong. I mean, Ocon's car shat out a load of hydraulic fluid, I think, and Gasly got strolled.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
But they weren't exactly setting the world alight before that. I mean,
this is because they've got the 2 most mid drivers on the grid. Both of those make a really good number 2 in a mid-grid team. They've got no lead driver, and I think that's why the whole team looks a little bit at sea.
Yeah, I mean, I think of the 2, I think Ocon has been the stronger this year. Without actually looking at where they are points wise, I feel like it's been Ocon. But
I think you're probably right.
Yeah, not in a sort of, you know, setting the world alight kind of thing. He's just been kind of...
Just because one of them has to win.
Yeah, he's been there or thereabouts.
Yeah.
Yeah, thoroughly bang average. I mean, we're talking probably Alfa Romeo levels of bang average. And again, I think that is another team where they don't have a lead driver, they don't have a car.
They're also in a massive transition period as well. I've got a feeling that like Alfa Romeo, as much as the race team would obviously be doing its its damnedest while it's on the grid. There must be like a massive restructure going on behind the scenes as well in that team too.
Yeah, as I said, it's just kind of like weird, nothing of a year for them, really, isn't it? Where they're not. Have we done with Alpine? Are we properly on to
and there's not a great deal you can say apart
Fair.
from hydraulic fluid and a stroll in your side pod.
But no, I know what you mean. Alpha sort of. It doesn't really matter what they do this year because there's a lot of change coming, and yeah.
I mean, the only question is which one of them is Carlos Sainz replacing?
Yeah, it sounds that way, doesn't it?
Well, he is favourite to replace, and do you know what? I think Bottas is done at the end of the season.
I think Bottas, it feels like he's sort of looking to life post F1, doesn't it? With like his cycling stuff and some of his rallying bits and pieces. It feels like he's...
And his gin.
And his gin, of course, the gin.
Although everyone that drives or rides anything these days has to have a gin. We saw two different riders' gins during the TT.
Yes, I feel like we've touched on this previously, the gin situation.
If anyone wants to do a 3 legs 4 wheels gin, just hit us up.
But yeah, I feel like he is sort of, definitely kind of setting up that what Bottas does after F1 path.
If I was Alfa Romeo, which is that'll be Sauber again next year, I think, will it?
Yes, it will, because I think this is the last year of the sponsorship deal.
And then it's 2 years of Sauber before full fat Audi.
Yeah.
Yes.
I would get Nico Hülkenberg and Carlos Sainz.
I think they may need a very strong crowbar to prize Hülkenberg away from Haas.
Well, he's only got a 1 year contract.
That'll change by the end of summer.
But you'd be talking to him now, though, wouldn't you? And if you were to give, how you could safely give Hülkenberg 2 years and a year option. So you could give him 2 years in Sauber, so while you're working stuff out. And then if he does the business for you, that means you've got a German driver if you want to extend his contract for a year.
Yeah.
When it becomes Audi. You've also got a cheap driver that's experienced as well. If you're trying to build race cars, like for a new team, you could do worse than Sainz and Hülkenberg.
Oh yeah, definitely. Definitely.
Of course, if they're not trying to get Lando Norris, they're wrong anyway, because that's...
Oh, well, Helmut Marko said that Lando Norris would be the ideal teammate for Max Verstappen.
Interestingly enough,
the Daily Express have got him down as Sainz's replacement at Ferrari.
Oh, I heard it was Albon last week. Jesus Christ, here we go. Silly season is warming up.
Christian Horner was in an interview. For some reason, he seemed to just be having an interview telling whoever it was that he had a barbecue after the Grand Prix and invited all the drivers.
He seemed very excited about his barbecue, didn't he?
Yeah. But he was saying, he said it was good to see Max. He said Max was very excited. He said he really enjoyed racing Lando, as they both have a lot of respect for each other. And it was just it's right. Reading the interview, I thought the Norris love was odd.
Yeah, because I don't think Lando came through any of Christian Horner's lower Formula teams, did he? He was with
Carlin.
Yeah, I was going to say it was Carlin rather than Arden. So,
oh well.
To be honest, he's probably been around a bit, because they're all in the same paddock, and Lando and Max are pretty much best mates.
Yeah, I mean they're on the same. They've been on the same esports team on various occasions.
Well, no, they started the esports team, didn't they? That was their jump into esports thing, was them as a team doing things.
Oh right, I didn't realize it was actually them that had started it.
Yeah, it was they used to do events together, and then I think Lando because they were Team Redline.
They were Team Redline,
which Max still is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then Norris formed that. What's his esports team? I forget.
We were trying to remember
Quadrant.
this last week.
Quadrant, that's a
Quadrant,
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I can see it. I mean, just Lando in general would be an ideal person marketing wise for Red Bull.
Do we think the friendship would survive?
Yeah, I think so, because I don't think Max is a twat, if I'm perfectly honest. I think Max seems like a pretty level guy.
Yeah, but you've only got his father to compare him to, and
I like him too. But do you know what I mean? I think if Max was beaten fair and square, I think he would be more upset with himself for being beaten than he would be upset with the person for beating him. I mean, that's what I mean. I don't think he'd be an excuse finder.
No, if Max was beaten fair and square, then Jos would dispense a punishment beating.
There is some story, isn't there, about how he lost once in karting and Jos left him by the side of the road.
Yes. Yeah.
Like when he was like 10 or something.
I'm sure that has been made bigger than it actually was, but I kind of like it, if I'm honest.
I mean, he must have gone back and got him at some point. He obviously isn't still there.
I kind of like it.
Yeah, it's kind of like landing a plane's the easiest thing to do. You don't see any of them stuck in mid-air, do you?
I mean, the thing is, because I see lots of like hate online for like Max for Jos Verstappen when it comes to Max and like the father thing. But in the end, what Jos Verstappen did was breed arguably the best Formula driver Formula One's ever seen, and the they still appear to be like really close and pretty good, like pretty best pals. You know, they've managed to have a successful career through Formula One without rumours of his father shagging his girlfriend.
When it comes to helicopter parents, Jos is obviously some kind of Black Hawk. Well, that shows exactly what we thought of Alfa Romeo this week, that we've just sort of started talking about them a little
silly
bit.
Season instead.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you anything about Alfa Romeo's race, actually.
Bottas got disqualified from qualifying because they didn't fuel the car enough. And I think that was about the most notable thing that happened.
Fantastic.
Yeah, that's it.
Well done, Alfa Romeo.
Other anonymous cars to feature were also AlphaTauri. I mean, we've already talked about Debris being...
Yeah, so bad he now does not exist in this conversation.
Yeah. And...
Or the sport.
Yes.
Yeah. And Tsunoda came one place ahead of him in 16th. Slow car.
Yeah, obviously didn't get on with the track, and yeah, not much else to add.
No, I'm just looking at the fastest lap comparisons, which is something that I don't often do.
Why are you doing it now, then?
I don't. Well, just to show how slow the car was, the AlphaTauris were the 17th and 18th fastest cars.
Ah.
Yeah, Tsunoda's fastest lap was around about 4.5 kilometres an hour slower than Max's fastest lap.
Who was slowest? Would it have been Ocon?
Yes, it was. Because he was obviously heavily weighted down.
Yes.
But yeah, when the the cars are that slow, obviously we know Debris didn't just get sacked for that race. You know, it's been the lack of points, the attraction to the side of Magnussen's car, because he always seems to run at a K-Mag, or he has done recently. Yeah, AlphaTauri just do not have a very good car. I'd like to see what Tsunoda will be able to do next year, because I think he's going to be there again.
Yeah, I think he'll be there again. He's lucky, isn't he? Really, he's lucky that De Vries hasn't kicked on.
Well, don't forget, Tsunoda was completely developed by Honda. who are still working with Red Bull until the end of 2025.
Yeah, if it had been the other way round, if it had been De Vries getting the kind of the okay-ish results and Tsunoda off the pace, it probably wouldn't have been.
We wouldn't be seeing Danny Rick on the grid.
It wouldn't have been this early, certainly.
Or they'd have just sacked Perez now and brought Danny back into the full fat team. Yeah, haven't really got much more to say about him. It was kind of an anonymous bottom half of the race because
the people that were there weren't there because they cocked up or because they had debacles. They were there because they weren't quick enough.
They just weren't all that quick. I mean, look at Haas. Yeah, Hulk in 13th and K-Mag lasted 31 laps until he had quite a spectacular fire.
Yes, he did, didn't he? I'd kind of forgotten about his fire.
Which, of course, brought out the safety car, which, of course, brought out all the pit troubles, so Ferrari managed to get screwed over by their own engine, not in one of their own cars. Yeah, Haas didn't have the pace either. You can tell what kind of circuit Silverstone is just by looking at the results. Because it really is, for the most part, slow cars at the back, apart from 14th, which is slow driver who didn't get a toe off his teammate. But, yeah, Haas didn't do anything badly wrong. They didn't do anything spectacularly right. They just turned up and raced at their pace. I think Magnussen was midfield-ish when the car let go. I can't remember.
I think he was sort of, outside points, but not last.
Yeah.
I think.
But I think with everything that was going on at the front, that's what made the back half more anonymous.
Yeah, which in a way is quite a nice thing, isn't it? That we weren't just watching the back markers for something to look at.
Yeah. So I think next we'll probably have to move on to, I think really technically Williams. Sargent, I was really hoping he was going to break his duck.
Oh, he got so close, didn't he?
Yeah. I think he lost out by 4.1 seconds in the end. And yeah, that was, I think he actually crossed the line 12th.
Yes, but Stroll had the penalty for
because
punting.
of Stroll's penalty, he gets classified
Gasly.
11th. But he was on it all weekend. He was not what we've come to see from a number 2 Williams driver over the last few years.
No.
Yeah, so he's now got more, but not all of the updates that Albon has got. Is that where they're at?
Yeah, I think there's only one update that he hasn't got, which I think was I heard front wing end plates.
Interesting. It's a weird thing to leave to last, but okay.
But he's got all the major ones, and well, the updates seem to have definitely done something on that car for the faster circuit.
Yeah. Yeah, it's nice seeing Williams a bit more on it.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's been saying this season the Williams is quick in a straight line, and that's always been their thing since the shit days started. It was, there's been some races where there were 2 and 3 laps behind, but they were the fastest car through the speed trap. So yeah, they've made a car that goes quick, but now they appear to have made a car that can turn corners as well. All right, it's the high-speed corners at Silverstone because there's only really one particularly low-speed, maybe 2 low-speed sections, the Loop and Vale. The two slow corners, and everywhere else you do carry a lot of speed through them, which plays into their hands. But just some of the times that they were putting in during qualifying as well. That was really impressive. And seeing a Williams almost make it to, well, both Williams almost make it to Q3. I think Sargent just ran out of tyres and went out too early in Q2. But yeah, this isn't the great resurgence of Williams, but it's good to see that there will be circuits where they can be competitive
it's
again.
Progress, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think it's massive progress for them.
Yeah, you don't want the big jump from back of the grid to race winners because then you've got further to fall. you need to progress it gradually, and then you can maintain everything.
I think they need to sort their issues out though before they lose Albon, because they can't hold on to him for much longer. He's
got another 2 years.
I think it's 1 year plus option, but Ferrari are being linked.
Yeah, I think Ferrari that'd be a great move for him.
Yeah,
I wouldn't really wish Ferrari on anybody, but from where he is to be all of a sudden be a Ferrari driver and and therefore then in the window of other teams if should they come knocking, because I don't think Ferrari are going to sort themselves out and win a championship anytime soon.
Well, I mean, all that depends on whether Fred Vasseur can actually communicate the wholesale changes that he wants to make.
Yeah.
But
I mean, don't get me wrong, I'd like it. It's as funny as it is to watch Ferrari fail every single weekend. We need another team to start challenging.
Yeah,
quickly.
Yeah, but it's can Fred do it? I don't know. It's like a football analogy. Manager comes in and says, all of a sudden we're gonna play 5-3-2 instead of 4-3-3 that we played for the last 10 seasons, and then you wonder why they're getting flirting with relegation.
Albon did, of course, drive for ART in GP3 and F2, which is Vasseur's team.
He did, didn't he? Yes. So there is a connection there. But I'm just enjoying seeing what he can do in the Williams. I think this is the best move that he could have made.
Yeah, fresh start, low bar of expectation probably at Williams, certainly in his first year, and it's just grown it. It's good.
Yeah, and is it Williams? Have they now overtaken Alfa Romeo in the constructors?
I think so. Yeah.
Yes, they have. They're up to 8.
Well, yeah, I mean, Albon finished ahead of both Ferraris. That's where Williams are at.
That was the next thing I was getting to. He was genuinely faster than them on pace.
Yeah, because he overtook to get in that position.
Yeah,
before he had to. I mean, he defended quite well towards the end because they looked to have a bit more pace late on. But yeah, he put himself ahead of them.
Yeah, and qualifying in 9th as well, but I think in one of the sessions he was ahead.
He was very disappointed with his qualifying.
Q2 qualified faster than Sainz, even though he went out after him while the track was still evolving. Sorry, Sainz went out after Albon while the track was still evolving, and Sainz couldn't actually catch Albon's time.
Albon was also catching Alonso, wasn't he, towards the end, like the last few laps of the race as well? Another few laps, and he'd have been on him.
Far off.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was the gap in the end? 0.6, 0.68.
Yeah, I think it was a bit of a DRS train.
Yes. God, yes, it was. But yeah, that would have. That would have been one hell of a one. Finishing faster than Alonso in a car that's finished on the podium countless times this season.
But it makes me remember when he initially got dumped out of Formula One, and do you remember that interview with George Russell, where George Russell said that Red Bull need to sort themselves out because they're making Albon look like an idiot?
Yeah.
And then I think he ended the interview by saying, it doesn't matter, it won't be his last turn in Formula One because Albon's far too good not to find his way back into Formula One. And he was bang on, wasn't he?
Yeah,
he was.
Yeah, no, he's got that 100% right, and he's now making Red Bull look like idiots. Especially when the binning drivers
when they're scrambling around for a quartet of drivers.
Yeah, and he's there outscoring 2 of the drivers that they had.
Yeah,
I mean, if Ricciardo doesn't have a good second half of season, Red Bull may come grovelling back to Albon.
I wonder if you take that over Ferrari.
Ooh, tricky, actually.
That'd be a hard one.
been to Red
'Cause you-
Bull,
'cause you-
know what you're getting. No,
You
it
do
didn't
have to
end
wrestle
great.
that team off. Yeah, you have
Yeah.
to wrestle the team off Max, don't you?
Uh-huh.
That's the thing.
But yeah, Ferrari, complete unknown to him
And to themselves.
and to themselves sometimes. Yeah, interesting one.
I think Albon would have Leclerc.
I think of the two, I think I probably would roll the dice on Ferrari.
Yeah.
You can go to Ferrari, be shit, and get a chance somewhere midfield afterwards
Yes.
as well. Whereas I think if he goes to Red Bull for a second time and it goes wrong for a second time,
That breaks your personality.
that's the point at which, okay, you are not a front-running driver.
Yeah, because Ferrari have never broken somebody.
I think Red Bull have broken more.
That's fair. That is. But we are we are talking like the difference in, well, like serial killers, for instance. They've all broken people, but who's worse?
Yeah, all right, I'll give you that. Right, well, talking to drivers that Ferrari broke, let's do Aston Martin. Probably the only binary team on the grid.
Yeah, what was
Yeah.
up with Stroll, generally?
Well, he complained in qualifying that he'd broken a mirror, and I want to know who told him, because he
Yeah.
didn't look and see that himself.
That's fair.
Unless they actually installed a broken mirror, and it was only at the start of FP1, and it was only during Q2 that he looked at it for the first time and realised that it was bust. Yeah, he was nowhere this weekend. Well, he was in Gasly's side pod. But
That was a clumsy incident, wasn't it? For starters, that was not great.
yeah, didn't make it through to Q3. Probably because he didn't get his usual toe off Alonso, because that's usually what gets him his pace. Because I mean, you know, sixth in Q1.
Yeah, that's.
And then
It's odd though, isn't it? Because he's not bad over one lap usually.
Stroll's qualifying's terrible.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh,
Hasn't
God,
he-
yeah.
hasn't he been okay this year?
he's
He's been better.
He's been better this year because Alonso keeps giving him a toe.
Maybe okay.
Yeah, how many Q1 exits was it on the trot last year?
It was
Oh,
ridiculous.
it's loads. Yeah. But again, though, car was a dog. To be fair, what I did find weird, I found the driving around the outside of Gasly off track odd,
Yeah.
because I read that
No, was
his
it
lap-
was it Ocon that he drove around the outside of?
No, I
I
don't
thought-
think
I
I don't
thought it
think he had
was
time
Gasly.
enough to get to Ocon.
Yeah.
Ocon
See, I
was done
personally,
within like 10 laps.
I actually don't think that was his fault. I definitely stem towards, I think Gasly pushed him off a little bit. So
Yeah, but if
I
you're
don't-
off, you can't just like lunge back on wildly and hope the other person isn't there anymore.
I don't think he didn't like lunge back on. He just held the position on the outside and essentially overtook off
oh,
track.
I'm with you on that bit. Yes, sorry.
Yeah. But the funny thing with that was that lap was disallowed. So he did officially go off track because the lap was disallowed. He wasn't asked to give the place back, and Gasly didn't get any sort of penalty or warning for pushing him off the track. So it was just like
It's just
an
good
incident
hard
that
racing.
never was.
And then he got his revenge a few laps later.
He did get revenge, to be fair.
Which definitely was his fault.
Yeah.
I wonder how long. How long has he got in that car? Do you think?
Saw a tweet from Will Buxton this afternoon about the silly season. It was just after the rumours of Ricciardo coming back started. Before it was officially denied, then officially announced. Because everything happens in that order.
Yes.
And he was saying it'd be great to see Perez, if Red Bull are getting rid of him, go back to the Silverstone team and partner Alonso. So
Sorry, who should do that? Sorry, I missed the first question.
Perez. So basically, Will Buxton thinks that Perez should replace Stroll.
Maybe. I feel you'd want somebody younger.
Yeah, that's quite an experienced lineup, isn't it? Alonso and Perez.
Yeah, but how much longer has he got in the car? I don't know. His dad must be getting... Well, I mean, obviously, there's a team principal in there.
Uh-huh.
But is he under instructions that Lance stays regardless of what he does?
But he's also like, or you get the feeling, obviously, I don't know the man, but you get the feeling he's a very competitive person. So it must irritate him that his team isn't second in the championship when they should be.
Mm-hmm.
And it must irritate him even more that the reason that they're not second in the championship is his son.
Mm.
And that's the other thing as well. I think as a parent, it's not just like putting your child in a position that they want to be in. You want to see them succeed as well. So it's not it can't be good to stick your kid into something that they're not succeeding at.
Because I get the feeling that's probably hit the Lawrence mindset is I'm going to get this team and this brand that have great history and pedigree, and we're going to put some multiple-time world champions in with him that he can learn from. Mm-hmm. And he's kind of given Lance everything you could possibly want to learn to be an F1 driver.
Yeah.
And it's still kind of like 6 out of 10.
Mm.
Yeah, I think he'd do well in endurance racing.
Well, you have to look in your mirrors in endurance racing.
Well, no, because you don't get mirrors. You've got a video display next to your steering wheel.
It still means paying attention.
I don't think he's the worst driver on the grid.
No.
I think he's better than both AlphaTauri drivers.
But I feel like he's kind of
24 hours ago.
He's hit his ceiling, and it's a fairly unimpressive ceiling.
Yeah. It's funny, isn't it? Every Formula One always has its Maldonado. There's always that driver around, and that driver is just Lance Stroll at the minute.
Because there isn't a Latifi anymore.
Because there's not a Latifi anymore, and or a Grosjean.
Yeah, I think that's why he's kind of struck lucky, because there's always been someone slower and crashier than him, and it's masked the.
He's never been the biggest problem.
Yeah, the major barrier botherer. And yeah, I would say he is probably the weakest driver on the grid at the minute.
Do you think? I think he's stronger than De Vries.
I said at the minute, not 3 hours ago.
Oh, I think he's stronger than Tsunoda. I'd take Stroll over Tsunoda.
I don't know, because Tsunoda, I think, has it in him to be fast. I don't think he's got the car. Tsunoda can be quick in a slow car. Stroll at the moment is being slow in a quick car.
We don't know whether Tsunoda's being quick in a slow car, because we don't know how quick that car is.
Well, what was it? Franz Tost, or was it even Marco said at the start of the season, I don't trust my engineers anymore. They didn't give me the car they promised.
Yeah, no, what I mean is because Nick De Vries is doing so bad and Tsunoda's never set the world alight, that car could be better than it appears.
I guess we'll find out in a fortnight.
Well, hopefully. Hopefully.
Then again, will we? No, I think we'll find out in 3 weeks.
Why?
Because the next race is Hungary, and that's just Monaco with runoffs.
You think we need to see
Spa?
Yeah,
that's fair.
Yeah, we need to see another quick track, and I think that's going to be Belgium.
We'll get a good game. I mean, we'll know there's something going on if Ricciardo comes in with no testing, essentially, and beats Tsunoda.
Yeah.
I do think that's a tall order. That if for him to do that after not being a Formula One driver to being a Formula One driver again in a team that it's he hasn't driven for a long time.
Yeah, I think the big achievement for Ricciardo in Hungary will be getting it into Q2.
I don't, yeah, maybe. I'd argue that it'd just be a big achievement for Toro Rosso, but yeah.
But yeah, I think that's going to, I think that needs to be his aim at first. Yeah, don't look for him at the start of this second half of the season. Look for him at the end. It
is amazing that they like replacing him before the midpoint of the season.
Well, they couldn't really get rid of him during the summer break because the first race after the summer break's the Dutch Grand Prix, and that'd go down like a bucket of cold sick.
Would they notice? Would they?
Now I have heard back about this, and apparently, no, they wouldn't.
No, I don't think that's not the Dutch driver that they're buying tickets for.
I asked Baz last week about what the Dutch press coverage of De Vries is like, and it's usually he gets to mention that he's finished 17th, and that's about it.
Mm.
So no, they probably wouldn't have actually noticed. But you can't bin somebody off before the home race.
No.
I don't know. Did McLaren not fire Kevin Magnussen on his birthday once?
Yeah, but it wasn't just before the Danish Grand Prix.
Well, no, because that's not a thing. But I think there is, as far as I can see, no rule in F1 that you avoid sentimental situations.
That was Ron Dennis that did that, and he doesn't actually have an ounce of sentiment in him anywhere.
This was Helmut Marko.
CM Punk got sacked.
Has he got
WWE.
A seat for Red Bull?
No, no, he's been linked with it.
I thought it was strictly Pepsi, and that was it.
He got sacked from WWE on his wedding day.
Wow.
Bearing in mind all this straight edge stuff, that's a reception I wouldn't have wanted to go to either.
Yeah, I don't think that would have been any fun.
Toast a happy couple with vegan protein shakes. Yeah, pass on that one. Right, so we've done Aston Martin. Right. Buckle up. It's Ferrari time.
Ooh, fun.
Somebody want to take this one first? Because it's just... Oh, get the popcorn out.
They just that's it. They just lost.
Yeah, I mean, Flood a few years.
I don't hate it.
Flood a few years back, he accused Williams of forgetting how to win. Ferrari are forgetting how to come in the top 5.
Yeah, but you can tell now by the drivers. It's especially Sainz. He's such an emotive person that you when you see his face or even just listen to his voice, you can hear the distrust's the wrong word, but it's that like, oh, really? Are we doing this? What are we doing?
Yeah, it's the always sort of double checking the team's working and
yeah.
I mean, I pinpointed the exact second where Ferrari blew it this weekend, and it was Saturday afternoon. When they were going back out after the red flag in qualifying, and they made Leclerc and Sainz swap places and put Leclerc in front in the queue to go out on track while they were both driving up the pit lane.
Yeah, faffing for the sake of faffing. At least get them both out on track if you really feel the need to swap the order around. Oh, bless you.
Oh, bless you, mate.
Sorry.
Heck.
So yeah, they screwed it up then, and it was just like, oh, this is going to be a prime Ferrari weekend.
Had they not cocked it up before then as well? Because there was the issue with, was it everyone, most people went out on slicks, but they put Leclerc on inters, and then they had to call him back in, and there was a bit of a tyre faff right at the start of quali.
Yeah. I mean that was a low level mistake. A lot of teams could have done that. I mean, if
a lot of teams could have, but a lot of teams didn't.
True.
Ferrari did.
I mean, at least it was 4 of the same tyre.
Yeah, true.
But how much more can they screw things up?
I mean, I don't think they've hit their ceiling. I've got 100% faith in them that they can.
they will
they
continue
can keep going
to find new and inventive ways to fuck it up.
Yeah, we need to do a Ferrari special at one point.
Yeah, maybe. I just think it's so crazy. Like, imagine if you were to jump back in time and watch the cars getting like released again at the beginning of the year. They were so confident in what they'd done, and all the media was so confident that this was going to be a title challenge in Ferrari, and I couldn't be any further from the truth.
Yeah, I'm just looking. Fred Vasseur said they were scared about tyre degradation.
Right. Yeah. Even though they were at that point either side of a Mercedes on a higher degrading tyre than they were on, who was fine.
Yes.
I see.
Yeah. George Russell, 22 laps on a set of softs.
I think it might have been slightly more.
Because the pit window for softs was
10
to 15.
Yeah.
And then Ferrari on the mediums was like,
first.
Oh no, we'll bring them in. But oh god, safety car.
Mm-hmm.
And it was blatantly obvious there was going to be a safety car.
But I think they'd already pitted by the time the car was on fire.
I thought they came in during the VSC.
I think
maybe wrong.
Leclerc pitted quite a bit before Russell. Because there was a window where had Russell pitted then, he would have come out ahead of Leclerc. I mean, he ended up ahead of Leclerc anyway, but briefly he ended up back behind Leclerc.
Oh yeah, sorry, Leclerc pitted on lap 18 and Sainz on 26.
I think, was it Russell who came in under the VSC?
Yes, it was.
Got you. And yeah,
that was what made him do that brilliant move around the outside of Leclerc, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, Ferrari managed to completely shag the pit stop. So Russell did a total of 31 laps on those soft tyres. Because there were 3 laps old when he put them on, and pitted on lap 28.
Yeah, it's not bad going.
Pitted at the end of lap 28. So yeah, he actually got more use out of a set of softer tyres, and yeah, Fred Vasseur's got it right. They were acting scared. And does he actually say anything else? We now need to have a deep look at the weekend, not just the race. I think we didn't do the long stint on Friday under the soft compound because Charles was stuck in the garage. Well, they've got 2 cars to get long run data, haven't they?
Well, yes. That should be the idea.
Yeah. No, they cocked up the strategy. Mercedes, and in particular George Russell, outfoxed them because they came in early because they thought he was going to have to pit and his times were going to fall off, and even though it blatantly wasn't happening, and it didn't happen afterwards.
It was funny, that, wasn't it? It was like I don't think enough people took enough notice of what George Russell was doing quick enough.
Yeah, it was kind of. I mean, even Crofty was a bit surprised by the amount of time he was staying out. Brundle certainly was.
Yeah,
and Logic and Pirelli both said there's no way that you can do more than sort of 15, 16 laps on a set of softs. And it's like, right, okay, I'll do twice that. And someone's out-strategized Ferrari and come out well ahead of them because of it. Everything points to Ferrari being crap. Vasseur has got so much work on his hands. I just, I've never envied a Ferrari team principal, and I still don't.
I feel it should be more. The they should have done something. Should look like it's been sorted out internally, because it's okay. Like, fair enough, they didn't build the car that they thought they were going to. So, I don't think that's necessarily, like, especially at the beginning of the year, it wasn't necessarily a bad car. I just think them and other teams, well, them and Mercedes mainly, underestimated the leap forward that the Red Bull would take.
Yeah, I mean, it was already a pretty dominant car, and then all of a sudden it's even more dominant.
But what's worrying is that, so that's fine. I can get you going down the wrong development path, or you just took it for granted that the numbers that another team were going to come up with were lower than than you thought they were going to be, or sorry, higher than you thought they were going to be. But there seems to be no improvement on the operational side of Ferrari.
No, it's still the headless chicken clown show.
Mm.
You know, when you get your drivers questioning their race engineers that much,
every single choice. It's not just like an odd thing. It's questioning every single choice.
But when you've got that much previous at doing it wrong, what else can the drivers do?
Oh yeah, no, I 100% agree with them. I think there's a very good chance that Sainz, especially because he does seem to be one of those drivers that can really take in what's going on around him and like process that whilst driving a Formula One car. I think he's probably better off just running his own strategy most of the time.
I think he has done, hasn't he? A few times.
It's what won him the race at Silverstone last year. You know, maybe they should sort of take a few notes from that. It's like, you know, the guys at the sharp end that are actually doing the race have got a better idea of what's going on than what our strategy software has dictated that we should do.
I'd love to be there for a debrief.
Oh God, yeah.
Yes, I imagine that's quite something.
Yeah, that would make that would make a pissed off Gunter Steiner sound like the bloody bedtime story on CBeebies.
Christ, could you imagine him doing the bedtime story on CBeebies? That'd be belt.
It's probably going to happen at some point. We should start a petition. It's just occurred to me. We talked about Aston Martin. But we didn't really talk about Alonso a great deal, and he was a tad anonymous, and that car hasn't really advanced when other cars seem to have.
Do you get the feeling this track just did not work for that car?
Yeah, I think so.
Because obviously, I mean, Stroll was well off it, but Alonso wasn't where he normally would be either.
Mm.
And therefore, I think
that was just
the sort of like the setup and the data to help Stroll catch up.
Yeah, I think that was the car didn't suit them. That magnified Stroll's issues.
Yeah,
and the reason it was where it was anyway was just Alonso doing Alonso things.
I think we'll see a better performance from Alonso next week because Hungary is one of his favourite tracks.
Yeah,
I think he could win next week.
That'd be fun. Mix it up a bit.
Bold predictions already. I'm still on for the Red Bull clean sweep, although the worse Perez does in qualifying, the less confident I am about that, because it's all on Max. But, I mean, technically, Max is winning the Constructors' Championship.
On his own.
Yes.
Which is, in fairness, is why Perez isn't going to get fired by the end of the year, because Red Bull will still win those two titles.
Yeah. But it will be damning if Max actually does get to the end of the season with enough points to have won the Constructors.
Yeah. I think I put a sneaky bet on Aston Martin winning the Constructors before the season started. And if Stroll sorted himself out at the beginning of the year, like I might have still felt like this was possible.
Not face planted off his bike or whatever it was that. Yeah.
Right, what's next? Mercedes. The Diva 2.0. And
That's
I don't
championship.
I don't mean Lewis.
Yeah. Difficult, actually, to sort of judge, because got a podium.
Yeah.
Great. Both cars sort of running quite well, but didn't have the sort of, I mean, we sort of mentioned it earlier, but that kind of that killer speed to get past two McLarens on hard tyres when they both had, I think Russell had slightly worn mediums at that point, didn't he? And Lewis had the new
And
softs.
Oscar was on mediums as well, though, wasn't he?
No, I think Oscar was on hards.
Yeah, both McLarens went on to hards because they ate through them
For reasons.
Well,
Yeah.
they ate through them in qualifying.
Yeah.
I checked that. I'm pretty sure Oscar was on a medium. Pretty sure.
But yeah, I mean, in either case, definitely the Hamilton Norris one you would have expected. Off he goes, and it just didn't seem to be an overtaking car.
That's the thing. They were quick. I felt bad for George because George really got screwed over with the pit stop.
Yeah, the timing of the safety car didn't do him any favors at all.
Yeah. I can't help but think that it's a better car than they make it out to be. You'd think it was an Alpine the way they talk about it sometimes, or a Haas, and you just think, it's you're on the podium and you're saying it's an awful car.
But that's the way that Formula One's always worked, isn't it? Interview a winning driver. How did your race go? While you're there spraying the champagne.
Can confirm, by the way, Norris and Piastri both started on hards and switched on. Sorry, both started on mediums, switched on to hards. Piastri went a couple of laps earlier than Norris.
So it was hards as well.
They were both on
right,
hards.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's all right.
So Mercedes just couldn't overtake again.
Yeah, very bizarre.
Don't build a car to follow.
Yeah, so Russell at the restart, his mediums were 1 lap older than Piastri's hards, so should have been
there
much
should have been a real advantage.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean Silverstone Pirelli came up with the ultra hard tyre as an option for it a few years ago. Mm-hmm. What was it? The orange banded one, I think.
Something like that.
Or ice blue or something. It never got used, but there was always the option there. And of course, this year the hardest tyre is the one they didn't use again, the C0, just to confuse the issue. So it looks like the hard tyres actually came into their own a lot quicker and seemed to be the better tyre option. But Mercedes being terrible in their world, it's probably just because it's they're not winning races. If you're not first, you're last.
I think they'll be good again in Hungary. I think they'll do all right there.
I mean, Hungary's a very chassis-dependent circuit, isn't it? So it's a bit of a leveler. And if we get rain, that'll really sort things out.
That was all that this Grand Prix was missing this weekend, is if that rain had hit.
Yeah. Yeah, we had a light sprinkle for about 2 laps on a couple of corners.
I think, was it George said he had a couple of drops on his visor and one of the cameras slightly picked it up, and I think that was about it.
Yeah, but can you trust George when he says it's raining?
No.
When I'm in a sim race and I'm sweating down the inside of my glasses, I call that Russell rain. Right, McLaren. Yeah, latest we've ever done McLaren at a British Grand Prix, because it's their first time on the podium since 2012.
Yeah.
This is exciting.
Yeah, I mean, they said there's upgrades to the car, and by God, we found that out Saturday. Mm-hmm. Lando wasn't fastest Q2. He did say that he was in the press pit afterwards.
In his mind, he was fastest in Q2.
Yeah, he was actually slower than Piastri in Q2 because Piastri was second. But yeah, qualifying, they were. I mean, Piastri only just scraped into Q2. We thought, oh, Lando's got the car. Great. Piastri's not got knocked out. That's good. And then Q2, second and third. Q3, second and third. It's like, hang on a second. What is going on? And, they said there were upgrades, but they're still saying the car's a beast. In not a good way. But sorry, I'm going all partisan. It's fucking great to see. I've been a McLaren fan since James Hunt. We've lost Lee.
Yeah, I don't think anybody... Is there anyone that just doesn't like McLaren? So like you get people that don't like teams. McLaren just seems to be one of those teams like Williams that it's pretty universal. You want to see them do okay.
I mean, Mercedes probably aren't a fan after seeing the arse end of the two McLarens for so much.
That's fair.
Yeah. Fernando's had his differences.
Fernando has definitely had his differences.
And I can't imagine they'll get a Christmas card from K-Mag.
No.
I'd imagine.
Stoffel as well.
Stoffel, yeah.
I don't think he'd go out for a beer with them.
But yeah, I mean, the Mika Hakkinen thinks they'll be challenging Red Bull before the end of the year.
A bit exciting.
Yeah, everyone was asking, has he had another serious head injury after he said that? And then by the end of the race, it was like, might have something there. Yeah, it's going to be tricky for him at the more chassis-dependent circuits because Lando says that the main problem is the car isn't great in slow corners. Now, Hungary is made of slow corners.
Yeah.
We'll see, because at the moment, on a performance like that, is he backsanding?
Well, this is the thing. You might be saying they're not great in the slow corners, but there isn't a lot of slow corners at Silverstone. So this is going to be the first slow corner circuit that these upgrades have been to.
So they don't exactly know what it's going to be. The data's telling them one thing, but look at what Ferrari's data tells them, and look how it plays out in real life.
Still got another 25% of this upgrade coming too.
Oh, isn't it the finished article yet?
No, they've been. There was the first upgrade they referred to as being 50% of the upgrade. For this weekend they had an extra 25%, and they said there's another 25% of the upgrade coming.
Oh, wow,
that's fun.
So apparently there's been 11 different upgrades on the car.
Yeah, well, so I can't remember who said it in McLaren, but he said that you might as well call it a B-spec car now.
Certainly a B-spec aero package.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Judging by everything that's been changed on it, and it just I'm looking at Giorgio Piola's drawings of it, and they just look like very, very minor things, but that's how F1 works. And I wish I understood more of it. We need to get Scalps back on at some point.
I hope this isn't the last McLaren podium of the year.
I think we're in with a shout of seeing him up there at Spa and Monza.
Monza's a really good shout.
Because they are pretty quick. And I wouldn't rule Suzuka out.
And actually, saying that, Lando's pretty hot around Spa as well, isn't he? He was on for pole that year until he threw it into Eau Rouge.
Yeah.
And then the barrier.
Aside from that.
Yeah. Apart from crashing. So yeah, I think we'll see good things from either side of the summer break. Oh,
Have we got Spa before the summer break this year?
Controversially, yes.
Yes. Spa is in 3 weeks' time, and then we get the 3-week summer break, and it's back the Dutch GP on the weekend that we normally associate with Spa.
So have we got 3 left for the summer break, or 2?
2.
Yeah, so weekend off this weekend.
Hungary, then Spa.
Then Spa, and then the summer break.
Then sleepy time.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, lining up something special for the summer break, so we'll have to do shows all the way through it.
Nice.
I know we've been off the boil of late. It's this having a job business. It's a pain in the arse.
We've been off the boil, but we're still simmering.
I
we're
think we are simmering away nicely.
Yeah, reducing.
Yeah, I do want to thank Manscaped as well for their support. If you want to take advantage of the offers that they've got, just use code 3L4W at the checkout and you'll get 20% off, free shipping, and in my words from last week, feel like an eel.
Yeah,
so that things aren't simmering. Well. Keeps you fresh.
It keeps you fresh, especially the toner and the deodorant. What?
I can't. I can't wait to try the ball toner. I think
you probably never realised your balls were so untoned. Pre this moment,
ever. I'd like to know how many, how long am I allowed to do it before it becomes inappropriate?
In private, as long as you want. In public. You do realise it's not like an exercise device. It's a cosmetic.
Is it a mist?
It's a mist. It's a mist.
How many tones is self-love?
No more than 3 shakes. But yeah, thank you, Manscaped. If you want to place an order, then you will actually be helping us out a great deal. That wasn't a fully fledged advert, so that's staying in for the Patreons. Yeah. That just leaves Red Bull. Actually, yeah, let's say it like it is. The other binary team: one all-conquering car, one all-conquering driver, and Sergio Perez.
Well, do you know what this shows to me? It just shows what a good job Max Verstappen's doing.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because it's not like you can just... We've seen cars in the past that have been so dominant, you can throw like a lead driver in one car and a squirrel in the other, and you're still going to get 2 cars on the podium.
Mm-hmm.
It just shows what a phenomenal job Max is doing.
I mean, you can't put everything on Perez for this one because they sent him out at the wrong time in Q1.
Mm-hmm.
If they'd have hung on 30 seconds, he would have made it into Q2, and then things might have been different.
Would he?
Yeah, I mean the track was coming to that quick. But
he still had to do the lap though. You never just. I'm just playing devil's advocate because Perez has been so off the boil in qualifying that regardless of when he went out, he might not have improved. I mean, when you look at Albon, when Albon was sent out, he ended up setting a faster time while the track was getting slower and it was starting to rain. If you remember.
But I think he'd got his quick sectors in before the rain had hit properly.
Perez
was
at
only.
Some point you've got to do a job. You've got to do the job, and Perez seems to be struggling with the.
It was only just shy of 200ths of a second short of making it through and knocking Alonso out.
Because I think Alonso had the same issue, didn't he? He was one of the first to check the flag.
He was one of the first to cross the line after the flag. Yeah, I mean Perez was on another lap, but then Bottas broke down.
Yeah,
so we had to abandon it because there was double waved yellows, and of course you can't set your fastest time.
It's possibly the biggest impact Ocon had all week. Not Ocon, Bottas had all weekend.
Yep, definitely a participation award nominee just for participating in Red Bull qualifying.
Do you think they messed up with because that was when the red flag came out? Yeah, so Perez was sat at the end of the pit lane, waiting to go out first. Yeah,
I mean, he was there a good 2 minutes before the session was due to restart.
Yeah, but again, though, he did get his lap in.
The thing is, though, he didn't have a time, did he? Because I think he'd had one deleted or he'd abandoned a lap.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Like that, when he was sat there, he got his lap in, but everyone else improved more. I don't know. It just he was on the bubble. That's the problem. Even if he'd managed to get through, he shouldn't have been there in the first place for that to happen.
No, he shouldn't. I think the pressure's getting to him. I've always thought he's a great driver. And I was made up for him when he got a win in the Racing Point. got the Red Bull drive. It's like, oh, yeah, this just puts that really crappy season at McLaren firmly behind him. Because
Side note, I had 100% forgotten about the name Racing Point.
Force Point India Jordan Spiker Midland Silverstone team. And now we appear to be getting the McLaren Perez all over again.
Do you know what I think the problem is? I think he's a perfectly good driver. I think it took him ages to shake off the I'm a decent Formula One driver, but let's be honest, I'm bringing Bank with me, and it feels like it was that move to Red Bull that did that. That made him be a Formula One driver and not the Mexican, which had a load of money behind him as well. And it was great when he to see him win races and be up there. But it feels like it's this year when he really believed he was going to challenge Max for a world championship, and it's that extra step to try and match Max Verstappen, which I think's done him. I think he's just he's trying to operate outside of his ceiling to match Max Verstappen, and it's not working out.
Yeah.
Controversial theory. The year that Perez was at McLaren was when they were doing Tuned.
Yes.
And I'm pretty certain it was the year that De Vries was in Tuned.
Yes.
And now Perez has gone off the boil at Red Bull the year that De Vries is in F1. But now De Vries has gone from F1. So Perez should be fine. De Vries is the problem.
Right.
It's a wild theory. I didn't say it was a good one.
And
I'm into this theory. So, at what point does Jenson Button come back?
Yes.
Well, he said he was probably going to race full time next year because he's enjoyed doing part time stuff this season.
There you go. It's happening.
Le Mans, and he's doing. I think he's doing another NASCAR race before the season's over.
Shock Red Bull to return for signing for Jenson.
Right, I think we fixed all the problems there. To be honest, there's none left.
All we need to wait for is Helmut Marko to come out with his own animated series called Bold.
Fuck. Don't give him ideas.
For obvious reasons, won't be made in 3D.
Do you know, I'm really starting to like Helmut Marko. I think when I read comments from him about the De Vries stuff, the genuinely seems to be like this childish piss boiler.
And there's no filter.
No,
which
he
is
knows
quite
exactly
good
what
entertainment.
And he's not long turned 80, and that's the age where you stop giving a toss, and he never gave one, so what the hell is he going to be like in the future?
Exactly. I think he might be my Pokemon evolution.
Going to the faster side of the garage, though. I mean, another... I'm sick of saying another flawless performance from Max.
It was all he did wrong all weekend was a little bit of wheel spin off the start.
Yeah,
and a little bit of me thinks he let his mate lead into the first corner.
Yeah, I mean, within 2 laps of getting DRS, right? See ya.
Yeah, because it was like Lando raced him into the first corner. Piastri was like, "Oh, can I have a go at this?" And Max was like, "Absolutely fucking not." And but yeah, there's a little bit of me thinks that Max already kind of knew I've got the McLarens, so he wasn't worried about Norris leading into the first corner.
It sounds plausible. I hate it when you do things like that. But I mean that car is. I'm going to stick my neck out. I think this is just about the best thing that Adrian Newey's ever come up with.
Do we not say that every year though?
That's because he keeps improving.
The 2000 and what was it? Hakkinen, Coulthard, McLaren that lapped the grid.
99.
Yeah, I think that's the best Newey car.
I mean that was utterly ridiculous, and they invented the drive-through penalty in that as well.
Yeah,
by accident, and still won the race.
Yeah, Was that the second brake pedal car as well, wasn't it?
I think that was the 2001.
Oh, was
with
it?
the second brake pedal?
Yeah. No. Yeah, I think that one always sticks to me because I remember that race and I was just thought, oh well, this is not good for a sport.
I enjoyed it that much. I changed cigarette brands.
97 wasn't it? Was it 97?
No, 97 was the first year that Hakkinen got a win. And then,
Was it?
Yeah, then destroyed everyone for the next two seasons.
Yeah. Because that was still 97 was still Williams Ferrari, wasn't it? So it would have been 98.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thought so.
Yeah. No, it was either 98 or 99 when... Well, it was both 98 and 99 when they just destroyed the rest of the field.
Mm.
But I want to say it was the 2001 that had the extra brake pedal.
Yeah. I found some amazing out the other day.
Yeah, what did you find out?
I'm going to try and get the pictures off him if I can, so we can share them with our on Three Legs Four Wheels. But I was speaking to Alien Addict, the YouTube channel I'm on. We've got a video editor in Scotland who's a professional photographer, and he does he does our clips channel and stuff like that for us. And he used to photograph Formula One cars.
Yeah, I got the pictures.
Yeah, well, he did like whatever it was when he was younger, for a photography company that used to like follow the races around, and he was thrown out like when they eventually, because he was like just gophering for the photographers, for film and stuff like that, and when they eventually trusted him enough to stick a bib on him. He said they went and stuck me in like an innocuous place of a track, like go on, just go stand there with the camera and enjoy yourself for the afternoon. And he took the pictures of Mika Hakkinen crying at the side of the track when he crashed. Was that Monza?
Yeah, it was Monza at the first chicane.
Yeah. And that he said, I went from being the kid they stuck with a bib on to keep me busy for the afternoon, to walking back into the paddock and all the photographers going, what have you got then? But yeah, I'll speak to him, see if I can get something for up on the
get those. We'll
nice.
share those on the socials and the website. That'd be great to see. Right, rock stars and wankers. As always, our good mate Wings Triumphant has come up with the preliminary list, and we have rock stars McLaren.
Yes.
Fantastic upgrades and what a comeback. Hamilton, solid driving and taking advantage to hold a podium.
Okay, yeah.
I think I'd agree with that. The crowd and their epic roars and cheers. I was trying to convince people this is not fake pipes in crowd noise. This is what Silverstone sounds like. They do mic the crowd up, but I don't think they mic the crowd up more than at any other races. It's the Silverstone crowd is that bloody loud.
Nice.
Yeah.
Magnussen's engine for spicing up the race.
Yeah, I imagine Kevin Magnussen personally would disagree.
Yeah.
I think that's probably firmly in the wanker category from him, but yeah, it did liven proceedings up.
Yeah, and Albon for a fantastic drive and quali.
Yes.
Do we have anything else in the rock stars? Have we got anything between us?
Ooh.
Sam Ryder.
Yes, for just generally being an all-round good egg.
Yeah, generally being there, being enthusiastic, and sporting his Iron Maiden Future Past tour shirt.
Which he had been at the night before.
Honourable mention to Martin Brundle for the way he handled the model on the grid.
Oh, Cara Delevingne?
She has been unhappy about it on social. She's... I feel slightly sorry for her because she is saying she was told by the people she was there with not to do interviews, which is terrible advice from them because they will have known there was only one way that was going to go if that's what they've told her.
Unless they were deliberately setting her up to fail, in which case, if that's the case, they're going in the Rockstar column.
So well done, Alfa Romeo. Yeah, but Yeah, it was. It was a slightly awkward incident, wasn't it?
Maybe they were thinking they won't come to us because we're anonymous.
I fucking hate it though. Like, I really hate it. Like the only reason you're on the grid is because you're famous.
Yeah.
So just be famous. That's what we're asking you to do.
Yeah.
That's
For
what,
30
that's what the
seconds,
people
can
are,
you tell us who you're there with? Say you're looking forward to the race, and tell us who your favourite driver is. That's all we want.
Yeah.
Even Kylie managed it in Monaco.
I mean, well, at least like she had like tenuous links through Formula One, didn't she? In the form of Jacques Villeneuve,
Yes.
for
And
a couple of months,
And her sister.
yeah, and Vanessa May in the same year. That's the Triple Crown right there. But you would think whoever's in charge of these people would just say, look, at some point, like this little English guy is going to come up to you and stick a microphone in your face. Just say, like, you really enjoyed the last race and you hope Verstappen wins this one, and then walk away.
Because I think he's quite good, isn't he, at reading whether or not they've actually got banter, or just sort of like, oh, okay, thank you, bye, move on very quickly. I think he can kind of tell.
Who was it he was speaking to on the grid where you could obviously tell that he was getting everything fed through to his ear because it was someone that he blatantly never
Florence
heard of.
Pugh,
Yes.
the actress who she was there because she's just signed on as an ambassador for Jackie Stewart's charity. And yeah, I kind of got the feeling he wasn't super familiar with her, but she came across well. She was obviously being paid to be there and managed to string together a few sentences.
And got to wave the checkered flag.
Yes.
I've got it sussed. You know how you have driver briefings?
Yes.
Well, we need at the
Celeb
beginning of the
briefing.
weekend.
Yes.
Celeb briefings. Benedict Cumberbatch can do all of them.
Yeah, how to behave. What do we reckon to the Brad Pitt cars taking part in the formation lap?
I can't say I actually noticed them.
I didn't notice either.
I knew it was happening, but at the time, in fairness, I think I was still recovering from the national anthem.
We'll get to that in a second.
Yeah, won't we just? But yeah, no, I didn't personally notice.
I've seen what's meant to be the plot of this film that he's doing, and it looks like it's bloody driven all over again.
Oh, it looks terrible.
But apparently, it's going to be done that earnestly and seriously.
Oh god, no! It needs to be aware of the fact that it's bad.
Yeah, it's going to be right. I've got classifications there. It's going to be a bad film rather than a bad movie.
Oh, right, okay.
There's a there's a difference.
Yeah.
Like, Killer Sofa and Birdemic are bad movies, right?
Yeah, entertaining enough, but void of any art.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the remake of Rollerball is a bad film. Yeah, it's so bad it can't even be rescued by taking the piss out of it. And I've only seen the first hour of the remake of Rollerball, and I gave in. Put the original on. Right, wankers. What's it got here? Perez for that Q1 exit.
Yep.
Yeah.
Ferrari.
Right, what it's actually put is Ferrari for take your pick.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's fair.
I mean, we've got a channel a chat channel on our Discord just for Rockstars and Wankers nominations, and I think I've got Ferrari in the Wanker column pinned as a message. So it's the first thing everybody sees when they go into the channel, and nobody's argued about it.
Good.
Trophy wanker. Trophy wanker for essentially having two British drivers on the podium at Silverstone and taking all of the energy out of the podium because he was terrified that they might get a bit of champagne on the trophy.
Oh, did they take the what do you call it, the BDRC Cup away?
Yeah, and essentially Lando was having none of it, and that's when he went for the second go with his like champagne spike thing. And
Gave Lee McKenzie a right coating.
Everything got drenched at that point, including the trophy. But when I was watching it, I was there thinking, "We just fuck off. This is not your time. This is not about you. I'm sorry. You're just going to have to polish it again."
Yeah, I mean, that BRDC trophy has been through a hell of a lot.
Yeah, I think that any sort of storied trophy has. I mean, the Copa del Rey in Spain got run over by a double-decker bus. They fixed it. It's fine.
I have a fucking solid memory that I hope is real, and I haven't invented it. A solid memory of Johnny Herbert filling that thing with champagne and wearing the lid as a hat.
That, I feel like I can picture it. I feel like that's a real thing. But yeah, this is the thing. Sporting trophies go through it. It's part of their existence.
I mean, Christ, I was even allowed to hold the hold David Coulthard's Monaco trophy. Photographic evidence exists. I didn't fill it with Red Bull and wear the lid as a hat.
Rory
Do you know what I
McIlroy, I
think?
believe, filled the claret jug with Jaeger bomb when he won the Open Golf a few years back. Just, I'm sure, was very classy.
Do you know what I always regret? I
Go
always regret us not asking if we could hold the trophy, like the World Championship trophy, when we were at Merck.
You mean the one that was behind 3-inch thick bulletproof glass?
It wasn't 3-inch proof glass.
I
It
feel
was
like
just
that's
in
one
a
of those things you
cabinet.
have to be invited to do. I think.
I think at that point we were we'd won ourselves over in that place so well. I think if we'd said, can we just hold this thing? I think we'd have got away with it.
Bearing in mind, 10 minutes earlier, we'd just seen that season's car 10 days before the launch.
Yeah. We were vibing.
We can say that now because our contact there doesn't work at Brackley anymore. He's gone back to Stuttgart.
Yes. That was a good tour. That was good fun.
It was. Got another wanker nomination for Stroll.
That's fair. I'll take it. Just honourable mention for Kieran because he's there. He was mortified with Stroll, wasn't he? He's mortified he couldn't be on this podcast to talk about him.
Yes. Yeah, he was desperate to rip Stroll a new one. Participation award. Oh, God.
Oof. I mean, you can take your pick, really, can't you?
Yeah, I mean,
Alfa Romeo.
Alfa Romeo is where my first thought goes also.
funnily enough, from Wings, Alfa Romeo in general. I think anonymous is too generous a term, seeing as they're just non-existent. Sonoda for a thrilling P16 to P16 drive.
Any more anonymous than John Cena's going to be in the second car.
Gennady reckons everyone from Sargent to De Vries. Pre-Stroll penalty.
What, anonymous?
I don't think
that's unfair for Sargent.
Yeah, I don't think Sargent was particularly anonymous.
No, I think he had quite a good race.
Yeah, I think everyone from Bottas down.
Yeah, he didn't win from the pit stops either, did he, Sargent? I don't think.
No, I don't think he had. I think he had a neutral pit stop. I think.
Yeah.
I think he sort of neither really gained nor lost.
Yeah, he pitted at the same time as Piastri on lap 29. So I think that was under the VSC, wasn't it?
Oh, right. So he must have had some sort of net loss then, probably, because Piastri lost out through the pit stops, didn't he? Because that's how Lewis got him.
Yeah.
So he probably did drop a little bit then. But yeah, I thought it was Sargent's best weekend.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Yeah, by a hell of a long way. Right. I think that about wraps it all up, doesn't it?
I think so.
Yeah, so apologies for being a day late this week if you were expecting it to come out on Tuesday, but it's probably just as well that
Worked
we were.
out well. We would have been cursing Red Bull this afternoon, wouldn't we?
Just like we're going to be cursing whatever Wednesday news happens tomorrow after we publish it and I don't have time for a jump cut.
Yeah, and to be fair, after we missed Monday, we've not been great at doing the Tuesday shows, so we should probably just be happy it's only 24 hours late after
Yes.
missing
Yeah,
Monday.
that is true. And next Monday, I promise not to be as knackered when I get home from work.
No, you can still be knackered. We'll just still do a podcast.
Yeah,
so
just show up.
it-
That's all we ask.
yeah, it will be there, but it just might not be good.
Yeah, fair point. Right, if you want to get in touch, then threelegsfourwheels@gmail.com for the old school email. Website is threelegsfourwheels.com. At Three Legs Four Wheels on all the socials, and we have the new social as well because we're on Threads. I said our first thread was our resident musketeer won't like this fact.
Oh no, I've no interest in it. I've no interest in like left wing Truth Social. That's all it is. I'd rather stay in the middle one.
There isn't a middle one. We'll not go into that. We'll not go into that. But yeah, at Three Legs Four Wheels on all the socials, and on Twitter individually we are
At Sean Cowper.
At the Lee Stevens.
And at Pablo100. Also at Flood21 and at Kieran is Boring. Right, we will be back next week, come hell or high water, and we'll have the Hungarian Grand Prix to look forward to, and whatever news has come out on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Because there's bound to be some. Oh, and don't forget, if you want to support us, then patreon.com/3legs4wheels. 1 currency unit a month gets you the early shows when we record on time, ad-free shows when we've got advertisers, except for the current Manscaped deal, and the occasional extra Patreon look at what we've been doing, honest, we've got a life kind of shows.
That depends on us
'cause
actually
I've-
having a life, though.
I had messages over the course of the week asking about my stolen car story that we were going to do on the next one. So I'll make sure I tell you that on the next Patreon.
We'll try and get a Patreon show in next week, and we just have one other request as well. A future guest has asked for the return of a total shunt, and I'm just going to leave it at that. We'll see.
A future guest.
A future guest.
Is that a guest we've never had on before?
That is a guest we've never had on before.
Well, it would be rude not to do it. Then,
we can
wouldn't it?
probably make an exception for a
I
newbie.
think that may have to happen. So
Got fuck all better to do over the summer, haven't we? Let's be honest.
that's true. I haven't even got a garden to have a barbecue in anymore.
So hang on a second. This is the guest I think we're talking about, yeah?
I think it is, yes.
Right. And he's already listened to the podcast.
Yeah, apparently.
Wowzers.
An old one as well, if it's got a total shunt in it.
Yeah.
Like classic listener.
Yeah.
Crazy. It's cool. Oh, well.
Yeah, just have to wait and see what happens there. Right, we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.